Well, hey there, my friend. Welcome back to the Creative Shop Talk podcast. I'm your host, Wendy Batten. This is September. We are jumping into the season. It's all starting. It's like the show has opened. Everybody will be coming. I want to remind you that this is the time, if you haven't already, jump in and grab our Holiday Success Bootcamp or join us inside the Retailer's Inner Circle. There's some big shifts coming inside the Inner Circle. I'm just going to mention that the Retailer's Inner Circle, which is my private coaching group, if you're not aware of that, there's a big shift coming in October. So I want to just urge you that this would be a really great time to get in. We do have the Holiday Success Bootcamp, which our members have been loving. We have been talking a lot about getting prepared for this particular year. Every year, retail is different, right? It changes year to year. So this year, we are all preparing preparing for what our clients are thinking, feeling, and doing, preparing for the year ahead and into January and February. Of course, we want to be doing that as well too. So I want to urge you to go grab the Holiday Success Bootcamp. And what we have done for you in that bootcamp is created a whole playbook, play-by-play as to how to break down your holidays, what to do, how to plan out your events. We've given you event suggestions. We call it a survival guide, if you will. It's everything that you need. We're trying to make life easier for you, which is kind of what we're going to be talking about today as well too. So we have enough on our plate. We have a lot of things on our plate, a lot of things on our mind too, which is something that people don't talk about a lot in retail. And this is self-awareness month. So I want to talk to you a little bit today about really paying attention to our whole life, as we're running businesses. It's not just about the business. So again, I'm going to just mention that the Holiday Bootcamp, it really was created from a place of making things easier and better for retailers, making it flow easier. You don't have to think about things. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. We've invented the wheel, so we're sharing with you on ways that you can use those wheels. That's kind of a weird analogy maybe, but we are trying really hard to, inside my Retailer's Inner Circle, we also have it as a standalone program. So you can go grab that. It's at wendybatten.com, or if you're a member of our program, the Retailer's Inner Circle, you just jump in. It's in the headquarters. I'm sure you've heard us talk about it. Go check your emails or check inside the group if you need to. I just want to encourage you to not stress out about the holidays this year. A lot of us get anxious as September approaches. We kind of like coast through August and September and into October if we're not fully planned out. And fully planned out means different things for different people. So it's really about understanding what success looks like for you and what would make life easier for you. So today I wanted to talk about self-care. And again, it's Self-Care Awareness Month. And what is self-care? And self-care is about taking care of your business, but it's also taking care of you as a whole person, a human being running a business. So let's jump into today's episode. Grab a pen. I have a lot to share today. I have some things a little vulnerability. Some shares around vulnerability here, my vulnerability. I'm going to be sharing what I'm doing for self-care and why. All right, let's go in. Running a retail business doesn't have to be so hard. Welcome to the Creative Shop Talk podcast, the go-to podcast for creative shop owners, studio owners, and independent retailers. I'm your host, Wendy Batten, retail business coach and mentor. Each week, I'll share simple, proven business strategies, inspiring stories from fellow retailers, and advice from industry experts. Together, we're going to work to find the success you want from your retail business with more profits in your till and a little more joy in your life. Okay, as a business owner, as a human, we have really big, messy lives, right? We have big, messy lives, and we're probably running big, messy businesses. If I'm being honest, I have yet to meet anybody with a smooth running life and a smooth running business. Like everything's perfect, right? Everything's great. We all have areas of tension. We all have areas of, just mess. There's little messes in all our lives at some point in some chapters of our life. So I love to take inventory and check in on myself and check in on my priorities. And I love to stay focused on the different areas of my life. You may have heard me talk on the podcast here about how I work around my seven pillars of life. They always sound dorky when I say that, but it's like the areas of my life that I really need to check in, because what happens as a self-employed human, and I've been self-employed for 25 years, which is crazy, but over the years, and this is for both my husband and I, there's areas of your business that get left behind, that drop, right? If we're focused all on one area and we're not being intentional about other areas, those things can be falling apart. Things can be falling apart in different parts of your life. So we focus on all our 7 pillars, and that's, there's just lots of different ways we talk about the wheel of life. If you're a member of inside the Retailers Inner Circle, I share that my whole program around. We call it the wheel of life, but it's really just your life pillars, things that are important to you. And I talk about the Thrive list, which I will talk a little bit more about. When it comes to self-care, we all do this. Honestly, I would love to meet you if you've never had an area of your life that feels like maybe it's down a little bit. We unintentionally ignore some of those areas unless we're being intentional. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. We get so deep in our business worries at times, or the plans, or have to do's, and just, so deep into planning out and running our retail businesses, and maybe you're running other things too, that we kind of neglect, again, those important bits. So we are managing so many things, like our business, our health, our family, our life. We're juggling all the things, right? I think you may have heard me share. I always say, I love the analogy of it's like an octopus on roller skates juggling plates sometimes. So what happens is when we're trying to juggle all these things, again, something falls down. And that's what self-care is about. It's like paying attention to what we need to pay attention to. It's really what self-care is. And it looks different for everybody. It's such a different thing for everybody. We did an episode with Dr. Ashley Markison on burnout, and it was, oh my gosh, you guys, I had so many people come back to me and comment on that post, and we had conversations. I've had emails, we've had deep conversations in my groups around that podcast. So I'm going to invite you to go listen to that episode. We'll make sure we have it linked here in the show notes. So speaking for myself, I wanted to share a little bit about what my self-care routine looks like. And right now, I mean, it's different all the time, but I have had so many conversations about self-care with so many clients. And if you're one of those clients, I promise I'm not going to share your secrets, but I want to just share some other people's idea of self-care as well too. I've had so many people say to me, I don't even know what that means. Like, do I just take a bath and have a spa and read a book? Like, what does that look like for you? And that's not what it is. It is assessing the different areas of our life. So today I just wanted to share a little bit of how even in business, even in my Retailers Inner Circle program, at the end of every month, we have what we call our playbook. Well, the beginning or the end of every month, we launch a playbook. And inside that playbook, we give you marketing plays and, ideas on promotions and events. And we give you email subject lines, and we talk about promotions. However, one of the things is a business operation checklist check-in. And some of the questions there come from checking in on ourselves. We are the CEOs of our business and the CEOs of our lives. So what felt heavy and hard, this month? What felt light and easy? We want to do more of what feels light and easy and less of what feels heavy and hard in our business and in our life, right? So checking in on all those things. So some of the areas that I have been focusing on intentionally and trying not to make excuses. I shouldn't say trying not to. I am not making excuses. And again, working with clients all the time, talking to retailers every day. And I have a lot of non-retailers that I work with as well too. And my question is always, what do I want my life to look like, to do, be, and have in my life? And that's what I ask them. So what do you want to do? What do you want to be? What do you want to have? Like, what is success for us? And if you don't know that in this stage right now, what's going on in your life right now, and they're like, I don't have time to do these things. I don't have time for relaxing. I don't have time for, long lingering walks. And like, yeah, you do. If it's important to you, you'll find time. So I don't have time is you telling yourself that you're not prioritizing whatever that thing is, if you don't have time for whatever it is. So I want to just urge you to pay attention to the tension. Pay attention to the tension as I share some of the things. I'm just going to share mine, a couple things, and I'm going to tell you why. So health is my number one thing. And I think we all know it. We're not, you're not listening to me and I'm not saying health and you're not going, wow, that's surprising that we should be paying attention to our health. You need to be healthy. You need to be healthy in your mind and you need to be healthy in your body if you want to run a business. Like if you're justifying it around your business, it's also if you want to run a life. But if you need to justify it around running your business, you need to be healthy. One of my favorite quotes is, "The world belongs to the energetic." Ralph Waldo Emerson said that. The world belongs to the energetic. Well, I don't know about you, but if I'm not feeling energetic, it's because I'm just so busy and burnt out and stressed out. So that comes from health. That is the health thing. So I always look at it as my energy bucket. How is my energy bucket doing? How am I doing energy wise? And what do I need to do? That's my self-care. So I need to optimize my health, and I've been working really hard because I'm not always on top of that. If the truth is, I need sleep. I'm trying to optimize sleep for multiple reasons. Sleep is just really important for brain function. Sleep is really important for energy, but sleep is also important for future, Wendy. It's important for if you're trying to fight dementia or any of that, and we have that in my family right now, and I'm just, really trying to be attentive. Movement. There's no reason that we're not fit. I need to be fit. So movement every day. And fit gives me energy. And I am not a jockey person. I am not a normally what you would call a fit person. I'm just I've always been kind of frumpy. I'm just being vulnerable and honest here. So I've really been paying attention to movement. And it's not easy for me. I'm trying to be really intentional about health. And so sleep and movement. So I've been biking, hiking, exercising, walking in my own imperfect way. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm doing it super imperfectly, but I'm being intentional about it. And I'm making a mark every day on my calendar as my self-care routine, especially right now, whatever this chapter is, I'm being really intentional about that. The other thing is nourishment. Watching what I'm eating, watching what I'm consuming, what I'm drinking. If I'm going to be honest, my coffee and alcohol intake has completely changed. I'm still drinking coffee. I'm still having a martini. So I'm still having my glass of wine. I'm just being really intentional about it. And if I'm being 100% honest, which is, just you and me here, right? Talking, two friends. I probably used to have a little more wine than I should have, or drank like way too much coffee in the run of a day. So I'm trying to be super mindful about that. The other side of that, I don't know, this is all way too much vulnerable share, but here we are. I just want to be open and honest, and hopefully this inspires you to think about what do you need to do for your health, to optimize your health so you can show up, so you can be that energetic person. So the other side of health is, besides physical health and getting fit and being smart about it, is my mental health. And there's a lot of parts of my mental health that I not make excuses about, but maybe work too hard or, do different things. So what do I need to do? What I am doing for my mental health right now, because I've had to acknowledge that, like, okay, what do I need to do for my mental health? I need to prioritize what's on my Thrive list. So I'll talk about my Thrive list in a few minutes, but it combines, and again, we have that inside my Retailers Inner Circle. There's a short masterclass and a list that you can use for your own Thrive list, but it's what do I need to feel good? So my health is one thing, my mindset is another thing. Stress and anxiety are a big part of my world and my life. I haven't shared that a whole lot on here, but it happens. I wasn't going to share this, but here it goes. Vulnerable moment. Things I've never shared on the podcast. So when I was really young, grade 6, okay, think about it, grade 6, I lost my hair. I had a big bald spot on the back of my hair, and it came from anxiety. I didn't know that as grade 6 because we didn't talk about that back in my day. My parents knew that and they talked about it. I did not think I was an anxious child, if I'm being honest. I never felt anxious as a kid. I didn't think I did, but apparently I did. My nervous system goes out of whack when it feels. So I'm good at coping with things. I'm excellent at coping with things. I'm solution orientated. I don't freak out a lot. I don't live in anxiety and all of that for the most part. But going back, I've realized over the years, it has come out in multiple ways. So here we are telling you I lost my hair in grade 6. I had a complete and utter, what I thought was a heart attack when I was working in my corporate world on vacation on a beach because I had taken a day off and let my nervous system and my body relax. And it was actually a panic attack, not a heart attack, but it felt like a really big heart attack. So during my corporate life, which I was absolutely, utterly abused, as I look back, working too hard, it was awful. It was a really awful place to work. But I was working through it. I wasn't complaining. I was just, doing my thing. And this is just what we do. And we work 120-hour work weeks, which we did, and 27 days straight. But anyhow, I had this panic attack. So I'm really aware of the fact that I have to be careful around how hard I work. And I love what I do now. So it's really hard not to work all the time. So recently, and again, being super honest here, recently I have had these like weird hives, and I was like, what are the hives from? And again, it's like, I think I've realized it's my body telling me, hey, you have this, you're just like working a lot. And I've been really not as mindful about the hours of work I've been putting in. So I've been trying to be mindful about the stress and anxiety and around that. I'm also an empath. If you don't know that, that means I'm taking on a lot of other people's things. And some of these self-care things, and I'm going to share again a few more things here, I haven't been doing. So I've been out of alignment of what Wendy needs for self-care. And I'm sharing all this because I have a lot of clients who I think they think everybody's like handling everything. And I think we're not checking in with ourselves. We're not acknowledging that we need to like stop what we're doing, go and check in. What's been heavy and hard? What do we need to do to check in? What do I need? Like everybody's different. What do I need? Like what do you need right now? Like what do you need? And I say that because we don't ask ourselves that question very often, right? It's like what we should do and what we're doing, but not necessarily what we need. So a couple of areas that I pay attention to, and I try to, again, managing my health, managing my mindset. So identify that, okay, like I need to do some things. So for me, it's things like this health journey. And if I'm being honest, everybody says they love working out and all that. I don't really love that. So that's an important part that I'm doing. Just being honest. It's an important thing that I'm doing, and I'm proud of myself for doing it. And I do feel good when I'm doing it, but I do have to make myself do it. But what are those things in your life that, the self-care things that might feel really good? So I like being alone, just in my house. This sounds really crazy, but like I realized, okay, I like being alone in my house, puttering. I have no agenda when I'm puttering. I'm just like zhuzhing up my house or whatever. Haven't done that in a while. So it's like, okay, I need to be alone. So I'm acknowledging this. This is on my thrive list. I need to take some of my screen time or my input. I call it input time. And I share that with my clients a lot. Like, what are we inputting? Like, who are we paying attention to? What are we watching on TV? What are we listening on social media? What are we scrolling? Are we, that's called input, like what's coming into my brain all the time. I have to be super intentional about that. So I realized like I've been off the scale, not where I want to be with that. So I'm like, okay, we're going to stop with, and that comes in different forms for me. And I've shared this on the podcast before, in that comparison comes out, or not enoughness, or you see other people living differently. And, so I'm like, enough of that. So I've really reduced down my screen time. Again, I've shared that here before. What else am I doing? I am also learning to say no. I have clearly defined goals, which sounds dorky around self-care, but I know what I'm working towards for this quarter. I know what I'm working towards. So I'm trying not to get sidetracked, and that is a form of self-care for me. I'm being very clear now about, okay, this is how I want to show up, and nope, I'm not going to do that. So having clearly defined goals really makes a big difference to me. And sometimes I'm just in the motion, right? So back to when I talked about even planning for the holidays, like if you're not planned for the holidays, you're just sort of saying yes to everything, and we're just sort of like doing things. But when you have clearly defined plans and you know what you're doing and it's laid out, it's so easy to say, yes to this or no to that. Okay, so I'm taking care of my health. I'm taking care of my mindset. I'm saying no. I'm also doing little things like micro updates in my house. So this sounds, again, kind of crazy, but it's a great thing for me as far as my environment. So environment is one of my pillars. Again, kind of goes back to that puttering, but I'm decluttering. I'm doing that, makes me feel good. That's one of my self-care things. Yours might not be. You might love your clutter. I don't. I realize like I need to declutter. I need to like freshen up a few things around my house. I also need to pay attention to also where I'm hanging out. So my office, the people I hang out with. So those things are really important too. So the people side of things, let's talk about that. People give me energy and I absorb energy. So when I realize that, part of my self-care is, who do I want to hang around with? Like, you find yourself, like I'm saying no easily now to people I really don't feel like hanging around with, or the opposite is true. It's like I have not hung out with my family, or I have not hung out with some really cool friends that lift me up and give me energy. I also realize that my clients, like this is an important thing for me, different maybe for you, but hopefully it's not. Like who I'm serving, I love those people. And I realize when I start getting out of alignment or when I feel off centered and my self care is affected, it's when I'm not hanging out with good clients or good coworkers or I don't know, people I just don't really want to hang out with. So this really helps me with my business, if I'm being honest. We've been talking about making some changes, as I mentioned at the top of the podcast, with not big changes, just a few shifts in my business. And we started to go down this road where I wouldn't be as hands-on. Like I'd be more hands-off in my business, it would be more automated, I guess, if you will. And I realized that's not how I work. That's not what fuels me. That's not what fills my cup. I love interaction and I love seeing my retailers. I love seeing my clients. I love seeing what they're up to, and I love being connected to that. Good people. I don't care to have everybody in my world, which might sound counterintuitive to growing a business, but if you know what I mean, if you're running your retail business, you're not catering to everybody. You should be catering to customers that light you up or that lift you up or that are ideal for you in your business. So that's been a really great, nice shift for me in my self-care journey this month or this last little bit, really nailing down who I want to hang out with or how I want to spend my days, right? How I want to spend my days. So reminding yourself around how you want to spend your days. Okay, I know this is a long episode and I don't know, hopefully this is really helpful. A couple of other really quick things that I have been doing for self-care is hobbies. Do you remember those? Do you remember what a hobby is? So a hobby is not something that most of us are using or taking advantage of. I shouldn't say most of us are, but it's really important for us to have hobbies. And really, it is just about removing yourself from your day-to-day business, maybe, and doing other things. And that refreshes you and refuels you, right? It's really good for your mental health. And so I'm personally just trying a few things like painting. I've been gardening a lot lately. Mentioned just not home decor because I'm not a decorator or anything like that, but just, restaging some corners of my house. And again, that's my hobby and it gives me, it lifts me up. What are yours? Like what do you do? I also read once, I think Dan Martell said this, that your hobbies aren't for you, they're for everybody around you. And I love that. I love that reframe. Your hobbies aren't for you, they're for everybody around you. So because you're a happier person when you're doing things that make you happy. So I love that reframe around mental health. And again, as I mentioned, people, just being around the right people, being in the right rooms with people, being really intentional about I can't explain this enough, but being really intentional about the room you put yourself in and the people you're listening to and that you're hanging out with. And again, we have lots of great conversations. Like in my groups, I'm trying to curate and bring in really good people. So not complainers, but action takers, and not, those kind of people in my world. And that's who I like to hang around with. They lift me up and they make me feel good. And they make me feel good, and then they make other people around us feel good. You want to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people that are positive, and even if we're not all positive, we all have negative things. We all have, we talk about challenges, but talk about challenges in a forward thinking way versus a complaining way. I hope that is clear. So I love being around those people. That's the clients I love working with. That is the groups, the coaches that I like to be in. That's how I like to curate my groups, my coaching programs. We love to be, we know there's challenges, or, everybody has messy bits, and we all have messy bits. And it's just, but instead of complaining, we want to be forward thinking of solution mindset. So being around those people really helps me with my self-care. Okay, this is a big conversation today. And, there's more things, and there's lots of, like I said, our pillars, and there's lots of my pillars. And again, if you're a member of the Retailers Inner Circle, go have a peek at the life pillars. It's in the yearly planning sessions. If you need direction, our community manager would be happy to show you where that is inside our program, the Retailers Inner Circle. This is a really great time to join us. I never feel like I want to talk anybody into it. It's just one of those things. If you need support or you want to be around great people, as I just mentioned, didn't really intend to do that, but there we go. So being intentional is really what's important for self-care. So I hope this month, during Self-Care Awareness Month, that you're thinking about what's important for you. What do you want? It's really just take a few minutes. What intentions will you set for your own self-care? And if you're honest with yourself, what do you need? What do you need to thrive? And what do you need to feel alive? What do you need to be the CEO of your life, so you can be a really rockin' CEO of your business? It's really, really important. So think about what you need. What do you desire? What steps can you take, small or large, right now, to focus on you and your well-being? You really, really matter. Your well-being matters more than anything. So I really believe in you. I believe in your dreams. I believe in encouraging you. And I just want you to just make sure you're taking care of you, so that you can take care of the people around you as well too, right? So I believe in you, and if no one's told you lately, I think you're amazing. And I think it's just, we're running really big lives, really messy lives right now, and lots going on, not just in our businesses, and our whole life, our whole person. And as I mentioned before, I love helping people run, life first businesses. This is why we're running businesses, right? So I hope this has been a helpful podcast for you, and not too long and wishy. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder. But anyhow, I think mindset's a really important part and piece. I think that taking care of ourselves is really important. And I hope you found this helpful. I hope to see you here again next week, same time, same place. I hope you have an amazing week, and I hope you can sit down and figure out what it is for you that works, and what self-care looks like for you. Please reach out or join me, or send a homing pigeon, or meet me on Instagram, whatever you need to do, if I can support you in any way in your journey. Have a great week, my friends. Well, that's it for this week's episode of the Creative Shop Talk podcast. I'm so glad that you were here to join us this week, and I hope you found value in what we're sharing here. I want to remind you that our website has all of the show notes. You can find it at wendybatten.com/podcast. Everything that you need to hear about today's podcast is there. Also an opportunity if you need to reach out to me. If I can support you in any way whatsoever, please feel free to reach out. So thanks for joining us. Please leave a review, subscribe if you can, and never miss an episode. We hope to see you back here again next week. Thanks, my friend. Have a great week.